What's up, guys? Chase Oliver here, bringing you my July 25th, 2014 review of WWE NXT. Let's get started with this one, folks. We kicked off NXT this week with the NXT Tag Team Champions, The Ascension, taking on two local jobbers. I like this method a lot because this way you don't hurt anyone else on the NXT roster by feeding them to the Ascension. Instead, you use two local jobbers. They're a good way to establish how dominant Connor and Victor are, let Connor and Victor get their moves in. So I like this method a lot when they do bring in local jobbers, something that I think the real WWE TV needs to do more often. But in all honesty, my problem with this match, I would say, is that it went a little bit too long for an enhancement match, and it kicked off the show. I felt that was bad placing by WWE. Why would you kick off your show with basically a glorified enhancement match? I mean, this is good for the middle of the show, to give us a little break from all the action, but you kick off the show like this? I didn't feel like it was a great start for NXT this week. What was the point of having Mojo Rawley lose to Tyler Breeze in one move? I don't get it. I know Tyler Breeze, he's the #1 contender to the NXT Championship, and you got to make him look strong. And I get it with his hurt finger. I don't know how he hurt it. It's hard to have him have a full match. But really, Mojo Rawley, a guy that you wanted to take seriously, WWE, you have him lose to one move, and the way you're saying Tyler Breeze got hurt is because he was modeling hand lotion. How am I supposed to take Mojo Rawley seriously in the future? Seriously, how can I get hype for this guy when he loses to a dude who injures his finger modeling for hand lotion? That's the storyline they're giving for Tyler Breeze, man. You just made Mojo Rawley look like a joke. I'm fine for surprise quick wins in professional wrestling, but it works better when the babyface beats the heel quick, not when the heel beats the babyface. I get it. You got to make Tyler Breeze look legit for when he faces Adrian Neville. I understand. But really, you do this to Mojo Rawley? I can't take this guy seriously anymore. He lost to a dude in one move that injured his finger modeling hand lotion, as the NXT storyline states. Oh, God. The women's title match between Charlotte and Summer Rae was very boo-boo. It was bad. It wasn't good. It started off to look like it was going to be a good match, but it never really picked up. These women just never, ever picked up. They were doing these sloppy submission moves, a lot of rest holds. It wasn't an exciting match. I was sitting there like with the NXT crowd when they were doing the wave and they were chanting boring. I was with them on this. I was like, God, this match isn't good. And then when they finally picked it up at the end, I said, you guys already lost the crowd. You completely lost the crowd at this point, no matter what you guys freaking do near the end. And I thought their ending sequence was pretty okay, but no matter what you do at the end, you already lost the crowd, and they already lost me because, like I said, their ending sequence was pretty okay, but they wasted the whole match doing all these lame submissions and rest holds, and it was just, it was cringeworthy, this women's match. It's not the worst women's match I've seen this year. There's far worse, but this is just definitely a cringeworthy women's match. Not a good women's title match. Charlotte picks up the win. That's all that matters here. And I hope her next opponent is much better than Summer Rae because that match was cringeworthy. So the Vaudevillains took on Kalisto and his mystery partner. As I said in last week's NXT review, oh, it's going to be Sin Cara. And look who it is. It was some fucking Sin Cara. And this match was actually okay. I actually liked this match. This was probably the match of the night for me when it came down to NXT tonight. In all honesty, I was fine with Kalisto and Sin Cara winning here. I understand everyone likes the Vaudevillains because they're a hot act right now. But you got to build up the other tag teams. You got to make other tag teams look strong and viable. You can't just make it too obvious that the Vaudevillains are going to be the heirs to the NXT tag titles and take them away from the Ascension. So I am fine with this, and especially if this leads to a Kalisto and Sin Cara match down the line, that would be fine with me. I think Hunico, who plays Sin Cara now, for anyone who doesn't know, could play a great heel role for Kalisto to overcome and would put on a really good lucha match at a future NXT special event. So you know what? I am fine with this, and I'm fine with the decision. And especially if Kalisto and Sin Cara are actually a long-term tag team for NXT. The Vaudevillains took on Kalisto and his mystery partner. Like I said in my last week NXT review, I said, oh boy, this mystery partner is going to be Sin Cara, and look who it was. It was freaking Sin Cara. But this was actually an okay match, and definitely the match of the night for NXT. I was fine with Sin Cara and Kalisto going over here. The reason being is you can't just make the Vaudevillains look too strong and look like too obvious of the team that's going to take away the tag team titles from the Ascension. So I'm fine that Kalisto and Sin Cara won, especially if you're going to keep Kalisto and Sin Cara as a tag tag team for a little bit, and then further down the line, maybe split them up and maybe have a match at one of your special events. I think Sin Cara, especially played by Hunico, playing a heel down the road would actually be very beneficial for Kalisto. So I think it would be fine. I'm fine with Kalisto and Sin Cara winning here as long as they keep them as a tag team and as long as they build up for a big Kalisto and Sin Cara match at one of their special events. Like I said, the Vaudevillains, it's obvious that they're going to take the titles away from the Ascension down the line. It's very obvious it's either them or Enzo Amore and Big Cass. So I am fine with them taking a loss here. It makes other tag teams look strong. It doesn't make the Vaudevillains look too obvious. And further down the line, if Kalisto and Sin Cara stay together, hey, it could lead to a big Kalisto and Sin Cara match. So I'm totally fine with what they did here tonight with the tag team. WWE, when your NXT champion is going to be wrestling, you should promote that at the start of the show, not at the middle of the show, because I only thought we were going to get 4 matches tonight. I said, okay, we have the 2 squash matches, the women's match should be long, and I think the tag team match is going to be long, and that's going to be our episode of NXT. All of a sudden, after the women's match, you're like, oh yeah, tune into our main event, Adrian Neville taking on Rusev, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The NXT champion's wrestling tonight, and I didn't even know until the middle of the show? Come on, WWE. Promote that at the beginning of the show. As for Neville versus Rusev, it was okay. I was kind of interested to see how they were going to end this match because I was like, well, you can't have Neville really lose clean to Rusev now, can you? I mean, the WWE doesn't really like to hurt their world champions that much, and technically the NXT is their world title belt on NXT, so they don't really like to hurt the world champions that much, but you also don't want to hurt Rusev, who you feature on the main roster. You don't want him to lose to your NXT champion, so I was kind of curious how they're going to book it. I was fine with what they did, you know, having Tyler Breeze come out, interrupt the Red Arrow, and then afterwards have it where Rusev beats him down, and the commentator's selling like, oh, Neville could be hurt. What a smart move by Tyler Breeze. So, you know, I thought it was a fine ending to NXT this week, but not really the greatest ending of all time. This episode of NXT, it just felt all over the place. It was like jumping from one direction to the next to the next. I felt the placing of the matches on the show were very sloppy because I felt this episode was just going to focus on the women's title match, really. But then all of a sudden, after the women's title match, it was like, LOL, here's a random main event for you guys to watch. I was like, what? Like, I just felt this show just had no flow or no direction whatsoever. It didn't really get me hyped up for next week's NXT. In my personal opinion, like, don't get me wrong, I like the WWE's effort of trying to make Tyler Breeze look like a really big threat towards Adrian Neville on the NXT title, but they just didn't sell me on it. That's just my personal opinion. I felt like this episode, you didn't really need Adrian Neville on the show. You could have just had your women's title match be the main event. I mean, you kicked off the show with the video package, for fuck's sakes. I mean, yeah, the match would have turned out bad anyways, but hey, at least show it as their main event. That would have been pretty cool if you ask me, but I just felt this show just had no direction. It was just all over the place. Not enough promos. I think the only promo we got from this week's NXT was Alexa Bliss video package. That's not good. Give us more promos. Give us more character development. And I didn't think any of the matches really tonight were really also good. Like, I think the best match of the night, like I said, was that OK tag match with Kalisto and Sin Cara taking on the Vaudevillains. This show was not really that good of an episode of NXT. But I want to know from you guys, what did you guys think of NXT? Comment down below your thoughts on this week's episode of NXT. If you guys haven't already, check out the other videos on my channel. Description box to the SummerSlam thoughts of John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. That's a video I definitely want you guys to check out if you haven't already. If you guys like this video, subscribe down below. Give it a big old thumbs up if you did. Check out my website, Chillin' with Trace, and follow me on Twitter at ChaseAubrey68. I'll see you all next time. Peace.